We find him at a spectacularly lavish party hosted by his lawyer, Philip Stuckey, and he is occupied on the phone. He is in the process of ending things with his girlfriend, and it is astoundingly detached. She is utterly exasperated because she refuses to be at his beck and call any longer, which is so relatable. But Edward clarifies with immense intensity that this is the most pivotal week of his professional career. He sincerely needed her present for each and every one of his business engagements. This forthcoming deal with Morse Industries is monumental. It promises to yield a staggering amount of money for everyone involved. After the call concludes, he must depart, but his own vehicle is hopelessly blocked in the parking lot, a profoundly frustrating moment. So, in an act of sheer desperation, he snatches the keys to Philip's fantastically cool Lotus Esprit. He has no inkling this one decision is poised to alter his entire existence forever. And just like that, this commanding man finds himself thoroughly and totally lost amid the neon chaos of Hollywood's red light district. It is the most remarkable fish-out-of-water scenario you could ever conceive. He guides this magnificent sports car to the curb seeking directions, and then the most enchanted thing occurs. He requests assistance from the positively radiant and unforgettable Vivian Ward. She works on the street, yes, but you can instantly perceive she possesses so much more depth. Edward is struggling so clumsily with the car's manual transmission, it is authentically hilarious to observe. Vivian, with astonishing confidence, presents him an offer he cannot decline. She will operate the vehicle for him. This is simply the most delightful and unorthodox first encounter in cinematic history. They arrive at the breathtakingly beautiful Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel, and the evening is far from complete. In a moment of pure, wonderful spontaneity, he engages her services for the entire night. You can practically feel the restless, uneasy energy within his palatial penthouse suite initially, but it swiftly dissolves because he is so profoundly and sincerely captivated by her. Her spirit is simply magnetic, so authentic and unlike anyone he has ever encountered before. And that evening, they share a moment of intense passion in his exquisite suite. The following morning dawns, bringing with it a most unforeseen proposition. Edward, recognizing he requires a companion for the week, invites the marvelous Vivian to stay. He has an entire series of crucial business functions planned to acquire Jim Morse's shipbuilding firm. They engage in the most fantastic negotiation you have ever witnessed. Vivian is so clever and so astute, settling on a final sum of $3,000. It is a wonderfully shrewd piece of business on her behalf. Edward also provides her a large sum of cash to purchase some suitable new attire. He makes the conditions explicitly clear. She must be at his beck and call with absolutely no emotional attachment. The first thing Vivian does is telephone her terrific and free-spirited roommate, Kit. She is so considerate and promptly arranges to leave Kit funds for their rent. It is a poignantly kind gesture, particularly when you discover what became of the money. Vivian had learned the prior evening that Kit unfortunately spent their entire rent money on narcotics for a temporary lift. With her duties addressed, Vivian departs for the most eagerly awaited shopping expedition of all time on Rodeo Drive. But what transpires next is simply and thoroughly devastating. The exceedingly haughty saleswomen in a high-fashion boutique decline to even assist her. They assess her entirely on her streetwalker's outfit and treat her with such shocking disdain. Crestfallen, she goes back to the hotel, only to be intercepted by the hotel manager, Barney. And believe me, this moment transforms into something genuinely special. Barney, portrayed by the magnificent Hector Elizondo, initially appears quite stern. He wishes to make it abundantly clear they are only making an exception for her because Edward is such a prized guest. But then he observes how sincerely distressed Vivian is because she lacks an ensemble for dinner. In a beautifully heart-harmony turn, Barney resolves to help her personally. He not only assists her in finding a dress, but also provides the most delightful lesson on dinner etiquette. It is one of the most benevolent and marvelous scenes in the entire narrative. When Edward comes back to the suite, he is utterly and totally floored. He is simply astonished by Vivian's breathtaking new appearance and her incredible metamorphosis. She resembles a princess, and the vision honestly takes his breath away. Later that evening at dinner, he proudly presents this new Vivian to the venerable Jim Morse and his grandson, David. The Morses are instantly captivated by her sparkling wit and her authentic personality. She is a definite triumph at this exceptionally high-stakes dinner. Ultimately, however, the dinner does not proceed as well as Edward had hoped on the business front. Mr. Morse is profoundly displeased with Edward's merciless plan to dismantle his family's company. Following the dinner, something deeply meaningful occurs between Edward and Vivian. He confides in this changed, spectacular woman in a way he never has before. He discloses the most personal details about his private life and his business. He even talks about his strained and difficult relationship with his late father. It is a moment of sheer, unfiltered vulnerability that is simply beautiful. The following day, Vivian recounts the dreadfully humiliating shopping experience from the previous day. Edward's response is the ideal reaction you could ever wish for. He escorts her back to Rodeo Drive to spend what he terms an obscene amount of money on clothing. It is the most phenomenal retail therapy session ever observed. He then departs, allowing her to continue shopping, having now fully completed her transition from a woman of the night to a lady of elegance. And then arrives one of the most gratifying moments in cinematic history. Vivian, impeccably dressed and laden with countless shopping bags, revisits that first haughty boutique. She victoriously shows the saleswomen the huge mistake they made, and it is magnificent. Back at the hotel, she now appears as if she were born to be a patron there. When Edward arrives home, however, he is still thoroughly engrossed in his work. So they opt to share a bath in the most enormous and opulent tub. They converse deep into the night, exchanging the most intimate stories about their histories. They explore how they each arrived in their present, very different circumstances. It is a tremendously intimate and emotionally powerful scene. The subsequent day, Edward escorts Vivian to her very first polo match. It is a different world, filled with high society and unfamiliar customs, and she is splendid. While attending, Vivian engages in a charming and innocent conversation with David Morse, the grandson. But the odious Philip Stuckey observes this and instantly grows wary. He is sincerely concerned that she could be some form of corporate espionage agent. Edward, in a moment of startling carelessness, utterly dismisses Philip's apprehensions. He callously discloses their arrangement, explaining precisely who Vivian is and her purpose for being there. Equipped with this dreadful knowledge, the married Philip confronts Vivian when she is by herself. He vulgarly propositions her, treating her with the most repugnant disrespect. Back in the security of Edward's suite, Vivian is justifiably and intensely upset with Edward. She challenges him for revealing her identity in such a terrible and mortifying manner. And to his immense credit, he offers a heartfelt apology. He confesses that he felt jealous seeing her speak with David, a monumental admission for him. He even concedes that her remarkable frankness is having a genuinely positive impact on him. It is a colossal step forward in their extraordinary relationship. The very next day, in a wonderfully romantic gesture, Edward departs from work early. He spirits Vivian away on a private jet for a most stunning surprise. He flies her to see the renowned opera La Traviata at the San Francisco Opera House. It is the tale of a courtesan who falls tragically in love with an affluent man. The parallels are so immensely powerful and poignant. Vivian is so visibly and deeply affected by the performance, she sheds tears of pure emotion. Afterward, she says something to him so simple, yet so potent. She remarks, "If I forget to tell you later, I had a marvelous time tonight." It is a moment of such pure, spontaneous joy and thankfulness. Upon returning to the hotel, an exhausted Edward falls asleep almost instantly. As Vivian prepares for bed, she does something she has never done with a customer before. She leans over and tenderly, affectionately kisses him on the lips. This solitary kiss alters the entire dynamic of their connection forever. That night, they are intimate, not as a client and a hired companion, but as two people who are genuinely connecting. Later, thinking Edward is sound asleep, Vivian murmurs the most heartfelt words. She tells him with all her soul that she loves him. As their phenomenal week together concludes, Edward presents her with an offer. He proposes to establish her in a lovely condominium and furnish her with a stipend. He vows that he will visit her frequently, but it is the most misguided thing he could possibly say. Vivian is profoundly offended and crestfallen as she feels he is once more treating her like a hired woman. She shares with him her lovely childhood fantasy of being rescued from a tower by a knight on a white horse. It is her method of conveying she desires a true fairy tale, not a commercial arrangement. The following day, Edward meets with Morse, but he is a thoroughly transformed man. Inspired by Vivian's fantastic spirit, he elects to collaborate with Morse to save the company, not demolish it. Meanwhile, the contemptible Philip is utterly incensed by this decision. He proceeds to the Beverly Wilshire to accost Edward, infuriated that he has lost a fortune. But in Edward's place, he discovers Vivian alone in the suite. He holds her completely responsible for Edward's change of heart and assaults her in a fit of fury. He strikes her and tries to force himself upon her in a genuinely terrifying moment. Just then, Edward arrives like a champion, yanking Philip away from her. He lands a punch squarely on Philip's face and dismisses him on the spot with tremendous satisfaction. After concluding his business, Edward asks Vivian to remain one more night, but on different terms. He requests her to stay only if she wishes to, not because she is being compensated. In a moving and powerful moment, she softly declines and departs. She informs him that she believes he has many special gifts, a deeply moving farewell. Vivian goes back to her apartment to pack for a fresh start in life. Phew! She intends to relocate to San Francisco to find new employment and finally earn her high school diploma. She shares a lovely concluding moment with her roommate, Kit, offering her funds and encouragement. She tells Kit that she possesses a lot of potential, motivating her to leave the lifestyle and enroll in cosmetology school. Vivian then waits in her dwelling for the bus, prepared to begin anew. But Vivian's firm rejection has prompted Edward to reassess his entire existence. In the ultimate romantic gesture, he directs his chauffeur to her apartment instead of the airport. He appears in a magnificent white limousine, clutching a bouquet of roses, looking every bit the prince. Then he emerges from the limousine's sunroof and climbs her fire escape to rescue her, just like her knight. It is the most wonderfully perfect realization of her childhood dream. He poses the most crucial question: what happens after the knight rescues the princess? And she provides the most ideal, empowering response you have ever heard. She replies, she rescues him right back, and they share a truly splendid kiss.